Hello, welcome to TVP World. I'm Adam Jasser. Our guest is Sandvik, Defense Minister of Norway. Minister, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
So there has been a lot of talk about the Baltic Sea security in light of the recent events, but there have been some security issues around Norway as well. And this is what I wanted to ask you, because obviously your priority is the other route, sea route, namely the northern route. And we've seen in the past some Russian activity there. So what is your response to this?
You know, Norway is NATO's ears and eyes in the north. Mainly what we are doing 24/7 year around, together with our close allies, especially the US and UK. We're watching after the capacities on the Kola Peninsula, where the Russian have their northern fleet. And despite Putin is losing a lot on the battleground in Ukraine, the northern fleet is intact and developing. And he has his strategic submarines, which can carry nuclear warheads, threatening both Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, but also London and allies on the continent, if they can get out in the Northern Sea, where it's 3,000 meters deep. And then he has his multi-role submarines, which can attack transportation lines of the Atlantic. So we are watching after that for the alliance, to protect the alliance. So Norway's Arctic strategy is about protecting the alliance by following closely what Putin is doing at the Kola Peninsula.
But we've seen an increase in, let's say, Russian provocations or testing the boundaries of NATO's response. Have you noticed similar incidents in the Arctic?
No, not so much. We see that it's a lot of activity on the Russian side, because he's still developing the submarine fleet and the northern fleet, and they're testing hypersonic weapons unlikely up in the north.
Like every week?
Regularly, I would say. So that's still ongoing, and we're watching after that. But still, it's more tense in the north. We have an ambition to have high north, low tension, but the tension is higher. But then again, we also respond to that because we have allied activity is increasing. We have more exercises together with the allied partners. For the third year in a row, the Americans are visiting Norway with a carrier group.
Yes, I heard that they are training with your troops, and they find out that it's not so easy in the Arctic.
No, we have to. We can learn most of our allies how to deal with biting cold up in the Arctic, because it's a different way to fight when you are in those climate areas.
Even Navy SEALs have a problem with that.
Yeah, I guess our Marines are pretty tough. But then again, being in an alliance where we can learn from each other, it's a huge part of the deterrence, because we show the Russians that we are exercising together. We're exercising together with our fifth generation capacities, both the Poseidon 8.
What does it mean, fifth generation capacities?
It's like the F-35s, which is Poland is now acquiring as well. The fighter jets F-35, the Poseidon 8 surveillance flights, and it's connected with space, it's connected with frigates, with submarines, with sensors, so we can operate multi-domain simultaneously, also with the land forces.
The challenge for Norway and for other NATO allies is that Russia is doing these provocations in a way which are just below the threshold. So
yeah,
there are two questions there.
Yeah.
First of all, how do you respond to these plausible deniability incidents, such as ships cruising along your coast and testing undersea cables and all of that? How can you respond to that?
First of all, we're monitoring it closely. We are aware and we are prepared. And then again, I will say we're meeting it the same way as Secretary General Mark Rutte said it, with calm determination. We are very clear where the borders are, when they are violating Norwegian airspace, as we have had some incidents about. We use our intelligence to find out, is this just bad navigation? Are they reckless behavior? Yes, of course it is. So we're sending clear messages that you have to have more security margins because it's dangerous, and we don't want to fight a war based on misunderstandings or bad navigation. So we are very clear on that. But we are monitoring this 24/7 closely with our allies, and we also have very clear messages. But the main thing is the problem is that below the threshold of Article 5 and war is cyber attacks continuously, not only from Russia, but from also other adversaries. I think we
Other
all...
adversaries? Are you talking China by any chance?
Yeah, we can track that to different kind of states. But then again, we just have to build resilience in our own societies.
And how concerned are you? For example, there was recently a trial voyage of a Chinese commercial ship going the northern route. And we know that both Russia and China think very seriously about opening that route. Is that of concern to you?
What we know is that when the melting polar ice makes it more possible to have commercial activity in the Arctic, this is a challenge and an opportunity. It's an opportunity for resources, and it's the same for the Russians. It's opportunities for resources and commercial activity, but also it makes it more tense because you have strategic competition. And the Russians, they are have an ambiguity about the Chinese coming up to an area where they want to be the hegemon. But we are tracking this closely. And for us, it's also important to have low tension, but also to be aware and prepared. We are preparing for war, to avoid war. So deterrence is a huge part of what we're doing up in the north.
And can you tell us Finland's membership in NATO? In what sense is it addressing also your concerns when it comes to the north? Is it increasing the risk for you, or is it on the contrary reducing the risk?
It makes Norway very much safer.
Explain it to us.
Both Finland and Sweden into NATO makes the Nordics safer. We now have a fleet of 250 fighter jets, both the Jasser Gripens and F-35s from Denmark, Sweden, Finland and Norway. And then of course we also have UK. So with Finland and the land forces and what they can teach us and we can teach them, with Sweden with the technological competence and the land forces and also the security of the Baltic Sea, makes Norway very much stronger in NATO with Finland and Sweden.
So how much have you actually done to integrate, I don't know, command and control and decision-making process within that alliance within the alliance, if you will?
It's in the making because they just became members. So we have to do it. It's a cultural issue because for many years we couldn't have exercises closely together. We couldn't use the areas of land together. So it's in the making. But we are integrating and we are buying the same weapon systems. That's a good beginning. But we do that with many of our allies. We just went to a strategic partnership with the UK to buying identical frigates. So we can maintain them together, we can have spare parts together, we can develop them together, we can train the crew together, and hopefully also can sail together.
Right.
And we do the same with Germany, with submarines. And we are now also writing MOUs with Poland recently, with the Netherlands. So we think that the new NATO, where Europe is stepping up, when everyone is in the weapon store together, we don't want to just make the prices go up. We have to integrate, we have to be interoperable, we have to standardize, and we have to have strategic partnerships, and we have to be an alliance where we can also train together and act together.
I have a tough question for you, because you said, you cooperate very closely with the UK and with the United States for the reasons that you mentioned. But there is also Denmark, which is a fellow Nordic country with whom you have a long tradition of cooperation, also on military matters, because we were both NATO members. But there is the issue of Greenland. So what is Norway's position on the US proposal to annex Greenland?
So Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. And Norway is very clear on that.
But isn't that complicating your relationship with the United States?
No, we have been very frank with also USA. We are in a family. We are a united family in NATO, so we can speak frankly to our allies. And we are very clear about that. Greenland is a part of Denmark, and we have to have respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity.
But the Americans have a point saying Greenland is vulnerable. So what would be your suggestion for making Greenland more resilient to a potential hostile activity?
To do more in the Arctic together within NATO. As NATO, with Canada, with the US, with the Nordics. I just went to Denmark together with Truls, my colleague in Denmark, the Minister of Defense of Denmark, and to watch a part of an exercise where also the Norwegian National Guard took part to defend Greenland, which is also important for search and rescue issues.
Sure.
But doing that together within the alliance is important also. So there we can give the US an important point. We
Right.
have to.
So you have to prove to the US that
Yeah.
okay.
We have to do it together.
Last question, because we only have 30 seconds. But do you think 10 years down the road, NATO is going to become much more European than it is now?
I think NATO in that time will be much stronger, because I think the best way to keep the Americans engaged within NATO, which is important also for the US, is that Europe is stepping up. That's the best way to engage them. And that makes US stronger, that makes Europe stronger, and that makes also our allies in the Indo-Pacific stronger and safer. So the best way to do it is Europe is taking more responsibility for our own security, but within the frame of NATO, we still need US. US still needs us. We're watching the submarines in the north. They are pointing the nukes for the Russians. They are pointing to US, not mainly to Norway. So this is homeland defense for US, for UK, and for Europe, and we're doing this together.
Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. Stay with us for more news and analysis.